Richard Snyder is a past distinguished District 12 governor for the 2000-2001 year and past international director 2007 to 2009. He has served 3 terms as an area director and 2 terms as a division director. Richard is passionate about building new clubs and has served 4 terms as a club extensions chair in Division 12 and has helped chartered over 50 new Toastmasters clubs. Currently, he is also serving as an honorary mentor for Smedley Chapter 1 Advanced Toastmasters in Founders District and serving as a club coach chair in District 12 and distinguished club area and division chair in District 100. For the past 32 years, Richard has been a teacher and has taught at every level from junior high to high school to adult education to the university level. He lives in Rancho Cucamonga with his wife, Syra, who is an accountant and a tax specialist for H&R Block. They have 2 grown children, Robert and Sarah. In addition to family, teaching, and Toastmasters, Richard enjoys traveling, sports, classical literature, movies, and music, especially big band music of the 1930s and 40s. Today, Richard is presenting 7 Habits of Highly Successful Clubs. Please help me welcome Distinguished Toastmaster, past International Director, Richard Snyder.
Thank you, Heather, and welcome, fellow Toastmasters. We have a very small session today, or attendance, so we're going to make this as interactive as possible, especially as a teacher. I realize when people are involved, they learn more. Thank you, Raven, for turning on your camera. And I thought we have a small group. It'd be great to get to know you a little bit better, also know a little bit more about you in terms of your club, especially as we're talking about the Distinguished Club Program today. And I'll start. I'm in 4 clubs, 1 club in District 100. That club that's ESL Masters, and we are kind of hit and miss. Distinguished, the first year we were presidents, and then we miss. Distinguished and miss, distinguished and miss. They're in their 6th year. So we have yet to put back-to-back distinguished years, but I'm hoping this year will be the first. I'm in 3 other clubs. One of them, the one that was mentioned in the introduction, Smedley Chapter 1, was chartered 3 years ago. It's been President's Distinguished every year. The other 2 clubs I'm in are in District 12, and they're distinguished or better about half the time. Let's go on to Heather.
Thank you, Richard. I am in District 1, my original starting club. It's a corporate club. It's a club for Ticketmaster Live Nation. And even though I don't work there anymore, because I was one of the original charter members and because the club still depends on me to be there, I'm there. We've been President's Distinguished a couple of times. Since then, we've been trying to get our membership back up to anything that would qualify us to be able to get DCP points. I am also in PAX, Pasadena Arts, Culture, History, and Science, and I am secretary there. That's my home club in District 100, and I'm there with Johnny. We got through a ton of our Distinguished Club goals last year, but we didn't hit our membership needs. I am a member of ACTS, which is a member of that, and Judy attends on a regular basis. That meets once a month. We are an advanced club, and we are not necessarily focused on getting our pathways goals down the wire because they don't necessarily fit with what a lot of people are intending to do with their speaking. And I know there are ways to work around that. I am a vice president of education there. We also have membership challenges with keeping that up to par because there is a criteria for joining that club. And then I've recently joined Club 407, and I am new to that, and I am experiencing a hybrid club on a regular basis now, and about to charter a new club as well. And that one will be 100% virtual. Thank you, Richard.
Thank you. Thank you, Heather. And is it pronounced Johnny?
Thank you very much. I am Johnny. I am president of Pasadena Arts, Culture, and History and Sciences Club. This year, we're getting close to hitting our membership goal and not so much on the educational goals, where last year we had folks plowing through the educational goals and not really moving on the members, as Heather mentioned. I am also president of Titan Toastmasters, We are a very small club, family oriented. We're working on getting our membership boosted. It got hit really hard during the pandemic. It also is a high turnover club because it is affiliated. It is not sponsored by the campus. It is Titans is the mascot for Cal State University Fullerton. So it was started at Cal State University Fullerton. So it is campus affiliated, but not campus sponsored. And so through the years, there had been a lot of students who then, of course, they attrition, they move on to other jobs, they move out of state, out of the area, so they don't stay with the club or they go on to other clubs. And so we're working on bolstering a nice group of faculty and staff for stable membership, and also to provide that outreach to students as far as mentorship and networking goes. But we have a giant stack of ribbons. I'm relatively new to Titans. I've been there just over a year now, and I have all of their physical goods in my office on campus. Tons of all the distinguished ribbons. They were chartered in 2001, so I'm trying to get us back to that distinguished level.
Thank you, Johnny. And Judy.
Yes. I don't know if my camera is not working. Sorry. I belong to 5 clubs, namely Circle City, Confidence Builders, Fantastic Communicators, Spontaneous Speakers, and That's Debatable, which Richard is also a member of. We kind of wax and wane along the distinguished club status. I noticed that we would get distinguished, then hit a ceiling, usually after 12. You need 3 more to get 15, and those become the ceiling where we usually can't climb over, and we drop that back down to 8. And then we struggle and claw our way back into 12 to get distinguished again. It's a cycle in most of the clubs that I belong to. We're still hanging in there, meeting the magic 8 number to stay on good terms, on good side of Toastmasters International. And I enjoy and love all my clubs and wouldn't miss them for the world. And I visit other clubs, such as ACTS, which is a very, how I say, distinguished status. I mean, all the speakers are very confident and powerful. And I missed it last month because I had to go to Washington, D.C., and I look forward to this month's ACTS meeting. Back to you. I popcorn back to you, Richard.
Thank you. Thank you, Judy. And Raven.
I'm probably the newest one here. I joined because Johnny, my coworker, kind of forced me to come, but I liked it, so I stayed. And I actually, Johnny is one of the person that I have high respect for. So when she said, Raven, I put you in PR, I hope, we can fill out our roles. And I said, okay, let me take a look at it. And I just tried my best because, and don't quote me on this, I was actually thinking about retiring. I mean, I'm young, but, I have young kids. And, sometimes, probably because of the pandemic, you start to think about what's really important. And I think, I took care of my mom when she broke her hip. And that was, like a big wake up call for me. And I'm just getting up there in age and I just want to spend time with my family. And I think Johnny's going to be my lifelong friend. So we're going to have that, you know, zooming back and forth and, just being in this club, really helped me to, I mean, it's a life changer. I mean, I'm sure you guys all know, how it changed your life. But already I'm talking a lot more than Johnny Wish, but too bad. Um, that's what happens when you join a club like this. You feel motivated to speak and try different things. And, that's that's a probably one of the most positive part of my life this year. So I'm probably like just almost half a year in, but that's what else. That's it. I mean,
Thank you, Raven. Very good. And welcome all. Thank you all for being here. And I from what Raven said, yes, I think we all develop lifelong friendships. I know I've said if I ever move, one of the first things I do after I move is I will visit the local clubs or whether it's virtually or in person, and I will be amongst friends. So that's one of the great things about Toastmasters. And so welcome all. And when you said getting up there in age, I thought, oh my gosh, if you're getting up in age, and I'm ancient. Well, welcome. So today we're going to talk about the Distinguished Club Program. And from listening to you, there's probably quite a variance in terms, some know a lot about it, and some probably maybe not as much, maybe not very, very little. So let's talk about the goals. There are 10, sometimes 11 goals. The 11th is probably the hardest to meet. So let's buy popcorn or raise your hand, your virtual hand. Let's see if we can come up with all 10 or 11 goals. I saw Johnny's hand up. I think I did. Maybe not. The
And
Distinguished
I won't
Club
cheat,
Program.
so I'll let the others answer.
Anybody? Okay. Raven, or I'm sure Judy knows them. She was division director last term. Johnny, do you want to take a stab at one or two?
Repeat the question? Or
Oh, okay. So we're going to start out by talking about the 10 goals. Sometimes there's plus one, 11th goal. And I want to see how much we know without, I'm sure Heather can name all 10. So, okay, Johnny, yes, and then Raven.
membership.
Membership. Okay, that's the payment. Well, actually, it's
If that's the secret 11.
right. And we'll also say number 9, because number 9 says add 4 new members and 4 more new members. So that's goal number 9. And do you know about the 11th goal? What's that 11th goal?
That's the one where you need the minimum members, 3 new members in order to qualify for any club points.
Right. A net growth of 3 members, or if your club started the year with 17 or more members, then it's 20. Okay, so you actually got 2 of them. And how about Raven? I saw your hand
I was
up.
gonna say membership, but she stole that right out of my brain. I'm gonna say the pathways. You have to complete a pathway
Okay.
or
Actually,
2.
the first 6 goals are all educational. We are definitely an educational organization. So let's talk about the educationals. What's the first goal? That's something about 4. Johnny?
4 level 1s.
4 level 1s. That's it. 4 level 1s. Good. And level 2 has a 2 in it. Anybody? Judy, you want to chime in? Or Heather?
2 level 2s.
2 level 2s. And guess what? 3 is a repeat. 2 more level 2s. So we have 4 level 1s. That's goal 1. Goal number 2 is 2 level 2s. Goal number 3 is 2 more level 2s. What about goal 4?
And
So
you
we're
can
going up
have a
from 1 to
DT
2 to.
DTM in there too. That
Okay.
qualify.
All right. Actually, that's goal 5, either level 4 or level 5 or a DTM award. And we'll give you credit for 2, goal 5 and 6. So we've hit goal 1, goal 2, goal 3, and 5 and 6, but we missed 4. What, anybody know what 4 is? Goal 4? It's actually have to do with 3s.
2 level 3s.
2 level 3s. Very good. Okay, so we have 2 level 3s, and we actually took care of 7 and 8, which is 4 new members. And they don't have to be brand new. They can be dual members. They can be reinstate. So for example, if somebody did not pay their dues 6 months ago and they come back to the club, they count. If somebody's in, for example, if somebody like I'm in ESL Masters, if I were to join PAX, that doesn't mean I'm going to, that would be also count. So they don't have to be brand new. They can be a reinstate or a dual member. And that leaves us with the administrative ones, which every club should hit. Every club should hit the administrative goals.
I'll call out number 9 because that one's near and dear to my heart because we're starting training season number 2 for club officer training. And we have lots of folks who successfully got through the first one with a minimum of 4. And now we're moving into our second one. You also need that minimum of 4, and then you'll get that point.
All right, 4 trained in the fall, and it is time-based. So, for example, if you do it in May, it will not count. You have a certain amount. I think it has to be by the end of February, right?
By the end of February, correct.
By the end of February. So it is time-based.
Our first
4 in
one
the
is
fall,
December
and
2nd.
4 in the spring. And what's that?
Our first one is December 2nd.
Good, good. Get started early, yes, by all means. There's one more, goal number 10, which should be automatic. And I'll share a story with you. I remember talking to a gentleman. His name came up earlier. I don't want to say his name, but his name came up earlier. And we were talking. They had 4 goals. They had met their membership goal, and they were going to fall because they did not meet goal number 10. The easiest of all of them. 9 and 10. If you can't get your 4 officers trained in the fall and spring, there's really a problem. They need a commitment problem. So goal 10, anybody know? How about Judy? We haven't heard much from you. Judy?
Well, the payment as well as the officer list must be updated in time.
Right, that's it. So dues payment on time, either in the fall or the spring. And the one that will catch some clubs is they need to have their officers in on time. This one club, it was in District 12, and they didn't get it in the fall in time. And because they only met twice a month, that was their one opportunity. And they didn't have it in they didn't meet the deadline. So they lost goal 10, which would have made them distinguished. All right, so that's all 11 goals. Congratulations. And I'm going to do share screening. Raven, are you familiar with how to find your club? And I know earlier Heather took you on a trip through the Toastmasters website. Are you comfortable? Are you familiar how to find your club site?
Yeah, I think Heather showed us the dashboard.
Yes, that's it.
And Richard, I
So-
showed them the cheat that you can Google District 100 dashboard, and it'll give you the link right there instead of having to navigate through the Toastmaster site.
Oh, perfect. Okay. So here are the goals we just talked about. And you see how they break them down. The first 6 are educationals. We went through the first 6. Then 7, 8 are both members. 9 and 10 are administrative ones, as we talked about. So those are the 10 goals. And then the most famous, the one that trips up a lot of clubs, to be considered for recognition, clubs must have 20 members or a net growth of at least 3 new members as of June 30th. And I know some clubs will announce in February or March, we are distinguished. And I'm thinking, how can you be distinguished? Unless you've already collected your dues, it's a little premature. For example, let's say you started the year with 10 members. The goal, membership-wise, is to get to 13. So March or February, you're up to 13. And you have 5 goals met, and you're distinguished, right? Probably not. Unless all 13 renew, most clubs are going to lose about 25% of their membership. So if you're at 12, 13, you're probably going to lose around 3 or 4. So yes, if you've collected your dues and you have 13, and going back to that example, then you could say, and we met 5 or more goals. Yes, we are distinguished. And by the way, here's the goals. You meet 5 or 6 and number 11, the membership goal, you're distinguished. But you really don't know till after April, till you've collected your dues, unless you collect real early. 7 or 8, you're select distinguished. and 9 or 10, plus of course, always that membership goal and your president's distinguished. So I know we have a lot of people from PAX. What's their number, their club number? It's probably one of those telephone numbers. It's a
Well,
I think
we're in Division A, so if you go to A4.
okay, I can do that.
We'll
A4
be right there.
I'm ready. It's 078
078.
808 81.
Oh, there it is.
We moved to
Yep.
3, sorry.
078 788 0881. Okay.
Yep.
788. Did you show them this feature earlier?
Yeah,
Yes.
we're in 3, sorry.
788 788 0881. And here's PAX, Pasadena Arts, Culture, History, and Science Toastmasters. The base is what we always go by for clubs in terms of being distinguished. We talk about net growth of 3. So the base for the club started at 11. It's great. You should always shoot for 20. However, 11 to 20 is a big jump, especially, is PAX hybrid or is it?
Mostly.
Okay.
It's mostly virtual.
Or is it
Occasional
half and
hybrid
half?
meetings.
Okay. So, and to date you have 13 members, so you're trending in the right direction. And required 14, but remember that's at the end of the year or after your dues are paid, your April dues. So, and only 2 goals met so far. And I
Yep.
recall earlier, yeah, you said that the goals got a ways to go.
Well, I'm hoping to check off that second level 5 checkbox down there.
Oh, good. Oh, excellent. All right. So
And-
the
and
club
last-
has, sounds like quite a few advanced. Well, I know with Heather and the club and Johnny. How
And
about
Darren
Raven? Are
and-
you close to a level 1 or 2?
Ravens
Uh,
in the other club is in Titans.
Yeah, I'm in another
Oh,
one.
okay. Oh, I thought you said PAX also. Okay. Well, I have close with PAX. I spoke at their open house meeting. And then also, when I was working as club coach chair last year, I had, or 2 years ago, have Jesse Munoz appointed
Yeah.
as club coach. So they also are just 2 members away or 2 more members from meeting one of those 4 new member goals. And you got number 10. That's good. That should be a gimme goal. And then the spring, you should hit the second training goal. So very doable. The biggest thing is usually membership. And usually if the club would make their membership 80-90% of the time, they're at least distinguished. But usually if there's a hang up, it's usually the membership goal. So looks very good. I would say PAX has a very good shot at making their goals, being distinguished or better.
Richard, for context, for this past year, I think we had 8 goals, but not the membership.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
So 8 last year. Yes. Okay. So the club should, and that's a lot of it, tradition to culture of the club. And if they're good at meeting their goals, it's usually the membership that holds up most clubs. Any questions about the Distinguished Club program? If not, we're going to then go into what I call 7 habits of highly successful clubs. And as Heather mentioned, I think she made it available to all. I as a teacher, I do believe in note taking. And while we're going through them, if you have questions, please raise your hand. And if not, we'll have an opportunity at the end, but for questions and answers. So I'm going to go through the habits. And I should say I stole the title from Stephen Covey, who wrote The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. And I did a speech about 15 years ago, a presentation, 7 Habits of Highly Effective Area Directors. And it was so popular that I thought, especially as a distinguished club chair, well, what do clubs do that makes them successful? And it turns out a lot of clubs that are successful year after year after year, they have the same habits. They do the same things. It's those clubs that once in a while make it, they need to get those habits. So habit number 1 and is the club leaders plan and expect. It's an expectation. They expect to be president's distinguished. As I mentioned earlier, I'm in Smedley Chapter 1. I used to be in Club 407, past district directors, governors. Past district governors, directors, I think has been president's distinguished, if not 15 years in a row. Maybe they had one blip, but they've been president's distinguished almost every year for the last 15 to 20 years. It's an expectation. If they fall down, it's very rare when they fall down. They already, yes, and I have no doubt, I just dropped the club, that they will be president's distinguished again. ABC in Anaheim is another one of those clubs that's president's distinguished every year.
Past district governors, directors already has 7 goals met.
7 goals. Wow, that's fantastic. So there's an expression under, you can put under notes or your quote. Clubs, people don't plan to fail. They fail to plan. So every club should go through and the successful club program. They should plan sometime the first couple months of the Toastmaster year, plan the year, chart their plan. I usually, as VP of Education, would ask members to commit to at least one goal. You should be able to finish one goal per year, whether you're working on level 1 or 2 or 3, whatever it is. You should be able to finish one goal for the club, and if not one goal, at least maybe one new member, one new member for the club. So I ask everyone to commit to help the club. It takes, the old expression, it takes a community to raise a child. Well, it takes everyone in the club to raise a successful club. Another quote: shoot for the moon. President's distinguished. I hope all of you, all your clubs, shoot for presidents. And why? If you fall short, you'll probably still be among the stars, probably still be select or distinguished. If you shoot for distinguished and you fall short, guess what? You miss the boat completely. So shoot for the moon, shoot for presidents. 9, 10 goals, it's doable. If you fall a little short, you're still should be select or distinguished. Goal number 2 is that goal we talked about that Heather mentioned, 4 and 4. Officers are trained. Successful clubs, they don't shoot for the minimum of 4 and 4. Successful clubs find a way. Let's get all 7 of our officers trained, at least 6 or 7. And you see it across the board. The clubs that are successful year in, year out, 6, 7 officers are trained in the fall and the spring. There is a direct correlation between having officers trained, 6, 7, and being select presidents distinguished. Thank you for that note. I saw 23 officers, 7 officers trained. To me, if you're an officer and you can't make it to one of the trainings, whether it's a lace or a makeup training, there's so many. It's like half a dozen. That's just in District 100. And they're going on all the time, literally every week. So if you can't make it to a training, you shouldn't be a club officer. That's my own belief. I'm very passionate about that. You shouldn't serve as a club officer if you can't commit to making it to a training. And it's helping the club. And people say, well, I've been this officer role so many times. Okay, well, every time you can learn something a little bit different. If not, do it for the club. If you're going to be an officer, you need to attend officer training. Habit number 3, members work the program. I recently heard that 81%, I don't know if it's that high. Maybe Heather can let me know how it is in District 100. But I recently heard that 81% of Toastmasters are currently enrolled in pathways. Now, maybe 81% are enrolled, but I wonder how many are really working the program. I've finished 2 level 5, so I'm working the program. And I heard earlier, I think one of our presenters was saying, will you evaluate my speech presentation? So every speech, I remember we used to say every speech a manual speech. Well, now that we're not using manuals, every speech a pathway speech, and you can fit them in somewhere. Heather, do you know how many people are in District 100 are pathways or registered
I
pathways?
dug it up. I don't have that info right in front of me, but it wasn't the 80%. Some divisions, yes, but not all of them. And
Okay.
I will say that some officers are not even enrolled in pathways, so that's a big one. That's a very sore spot.
Yes, I agree. You mean you're talking about district officers?
Club officers.
Oh, club officers. Okay. Yeah, and that's pretty hard if you're asking people to come on board and you're not enrolled in pathways. Kind of hard for telling people, yeah, you need to be on pathways. But you work the program, it does work. I know people have asked me. I was the chief pathways ambassador in District 12 way back as we were just starting the program. And so I'm a strong believer, and you work the program, it does work, but you have to work the program. It's like anything else. You work the program, you'll see the benefits. Habit number 4, and by the way, that's also how you help work toward those 6 educational goals, is you have to have the members working on those goals, making sure that every speech is pathway speech, and they will hit, and then that will help the club meet its educational goals. Plus, it also makes it a lot easier to evaluate. Habit number 4, meetings end and begin on time. They're well organized. And I've been to many Toastmaster meetings, and I usually know within the first 5 to 10 minutes whether that club is organized, whether they have they're passionate about being distinguished or not, because right away you see if they're doing it pathway speeches. Okay, that's a check mark. If they start and end on time, they respect their members' time, but also their guests. There's nothing wrong with saying, oh, we're a little bit short. Let's bring in table topics as opposed to 5 or 6 questions. Let's shorten it this time to 1 or 2. That's where it's always good to start out with speeches first and then have table topics somewhere in the middle. Gives the evaluators more time to prepare their notes as well. So meetings begin and end on time. Habit number 5 kind of piggybacks with number 4. The club meetings are varied and exciting, productive. People have fun. I'm sure we've all been to a Toastmaster club where, and I remember when we were meeting in person, I belonged to a club that met Sunday nights. And invariably, we would have 2 or 3 guests at almost every meeting because there weren't too many clubs Sunday night. It met at a college. And at the end of the meeting, we would ask guests for their comments. And almost every time the guest said, I want to join the club. That's great when that happens. That means the club is doing what they should be doing. Members are having fun. The guests see that. And it's kind of a trickle down or snowball effect. You're doing all the right things. You get guests and they want to join. They want to be a part of it. Again, you start and end on time. You have to have varied meetings, fun meetings. People will pick up on if the members are just kind of going through the roles. They're not really passionate about it. Another thing I see in a lot of clubs is, oh, we need 5 or 6 positions. I think, wow, that's a lot. I understand 1 or 2. People can't make it for a reason or 2, but it's invariable that there's probably a big distinction. The clubs that have to fill those positions last minute or even during the meeting are those that are not successful year after year after year. The clubs that are successful year after year, if you're going to be out, you find somebody to fill. For example, I can't be a speaker, send it in early and they have somebody else, or even ask somebody. So meetings not only begin and end on time, but they're productive, they're fun, they're exciting. Table topics are exciting. They're on the theme. They have a theme every meeting. They have an agenda and they follow the agenda. All very important. Habit number 6. New members are welcome. They're voted in and assigned or given the option of choosing a mentor. And this is so important. We see that we lose. There's attrition rate. I mentioned earlier, clubs lose somewhere between 25% to about 30-40% every 6 months. The clubs that hold on their members, especially new members, the best, are getting the members involved right away. And it doesn't mean speaking necessarily. It's very important. Sit down with the members or face-to-face with the members if you're doing this on virtually, and really listen to them. Do you want to jump in with both feet? Are you ready to speak? Do your icebreaker, or you need a little more time? But we want to get you involved. We want to get you on the agenda as soon as possible, like next meeting. So new members, I feel welcome. The guests feel welcome, and they're put to work right away. Habit number 7. Habit number 7, and I think of all of them, this might be the most important, especially in terms of growing. Clubs that are perennially distinguished and better, select, and presidents have a minimum of 2 well-publicized membership building activities per year. And that can look at a lot of different things. I heard Speechcraft earlier. That's one possibility. An open house is a great, I like doing those. It's one shot. But you have to do the legwork. You have to do all the promoting month or 2 in advance. If you say, oh, we're already this November, let's do an open house in December. Well, December is probably not the best month to do it. People have a lot of other things going on. And it doesn't really give you enough time. Now, we do have social media today, and that cuts down some of the time. But ideally, if you're thinking now in terms of doing an open house, Speechcraft, I would probably put it off until January, when a lot of people are making New Year's resolutions. Right now, people are really busy, so probably not the best time. Now, that doesn't mean you can't have a holiday party or Christmas party. Invite your members and guests, because that's how you retain your membership, building that camaraderie. In fact, that club I mentioned earlier, ESL Masters, I recently said, yeah, we should have a face-to-face meeting or hybrid meeting, and to celebrate Christmas, celebrate the holidays. That's where you build that camaraderie. That's what retention, where people and that's a big part of Toastmasters, that camaraderie, the fellowship we all experience in Toastmasters. So I think that's very important, and all clubs should be doing that this time of year, or at least something in early January, maybe a New Year's party. So those are the 7 goals, 7 habits. Club leaders plan and expect to be presidents distinguished. It's an expectation. Number 2, the officers are trained in the fall and the spring. Number 3, members work the program. Every speech, a pathway speech. They're working toward their next level or finishing that level. Habit number 4, meetings begin and end on time. And habit number 5, they're productive meetings with fun, excitement, varied, table topics, etc. Members are prepared to do their duties, and they do them with excitement. Goal number 6, new members are voted in and assigned roles almost immediately, and they're given mentors or assigned mentor or choose a mentor. And goal number 7, clubs have a minimum of 2 membership building activities per year, 1 in the fall, 1 in the spring. Now, if a club is really struggling, I would suggest minimum of 4, 1 every season, every 3 or 4 months. Those are the 7 habits. Would love to get your questions. I think we have about 15-20 minutes left. Would love to hear if you have any questions, or you could just share what your clubs are doing toward those goals, what goals you're missing, or what goals maybe we can work a little harder on. So either questions or comments. Yes, Johnny.
I was gonna say, you hit on several things that we're doing at Titan Toastmasters, and we're hoping that will attract some members. We do try to do a social at least once every 4 to 6 months. What was it, Raven? Maybe just last month we had we meet first and third Wednesdays at lunchtime. So we had an in-person lunch. And we plan on doing either a potluck or go out to dinner as a group for just before the holidays start. And we have our open house scheduled for January 17th. And
Good.
you know,
Excellent.
if you're interested in speaking at an open house, since we are on a college campus.
Oh, that's great. Something I would suggest also for open house, or just if your club, I know Titans, they're around 8 members or so, if I remember correctly.
Right at 8. We had
8,
9
right
for
at
a
8.
hot
They've been
minute.
at 8 for quite a while. If I
Yeah, well, we had 9 for a hot minute, but one of our we had a member, and her husband was here for college. They lived out of country, and then they went back to their home country, so we lost her.
and that does happen. Every district has, almost every district, maybe every district has a speakers bureau. And the great thing there is they've given longer speeches, usually 15 to 20 minutes, but they will tailor the speech to meet your club's needs. So if you say, we'd love to hear a 5 to 7 minute speech, and we're looking for maybe self-improvement, or we're looking for Toastmasters or the benefits of Toastmasters. District 100 has a very active speakers bureau program. People that love to go out and speak at other Toastmaster activities, go outside Toastmasters. And the speakers bureau chair this year is Judy, and I'm trying to remember her last name. She was
Bicknell.
district governor. What's that?
Judy Bicknell.
Thank you, Judy Bicknell. Yes, yes.
And I can help you get in touch with her.
So yeah, if a club is wanting to do that, one of the great things is that speaker is usually really experienced. And then for open house, I like to see the variety or variation. If you have 2 really polished speakers, that can scare people away. So if you have one polished speaker and then maybe somebody doing an icebreaker or one of the first few speeches, they see, oh wow, look at the potential. Look at the potential for growth. So I think if you just do one, I would have somebody maybe toward the beginning or intermediate speech. Because if you have 2 really, really polished speakers, sometimes you scare people away. Wow, they're so good. So I think 2 speakers, especially at an open house, showing the variance works real well.
I'm sorry, I'm giggling maniacally because I'm watching Raven's face as you're saying that, because she's still working on her icebreaker, and she's like, no, please don't make me go out open.
Oh, Raven, you'd be great. You'd be great. Icebreakers are fun speeches because you talk about yourself. Yeah, I hope you do it, Raven. Just a plug. Think about it.
I'll think about it.
Yeah.
Raven's
And
been
you can always get coaching or feedback from Johnny or beforehand. But yeah.
We've been chasing Raven this whole learning labs. So
Okay. All right. Well, that's one way that's how we improve in this organization. We have to jump in, or we learn by doing. And the great thing here is we fall down. I've fallen down many times. So we get back up, and there are people to help us. It's not always that way in the working world. A lot of times you fall down, it could cost you promotion, could cost you a job, like happened to me many, many years ago. But here we support and help you. We dust you off, get you back in, and encourage. So I know you'll be successful, Raven.
Thank you.
Yes.
I hope
Okay.
so.
Anyone else? Either questions or comments? I see Judy's hand up, or her electronic hand. Yes, Judy.
Yeah, Richard, you mentioned you borrowed or stole this topic.
The
Or
title. I borrowed the title. I tweaked the title. Yes.
Oh, you tweaked the
Stephen Covey.
tweaked the title. Oh, okay. From which person? I was wondering.
Oh, Stephen Covey. It's if you Google it, it's very well known. The 7 Habits of Highly Successful People. And then I think he's written, he's gone on to an 8th habit. He passed, but he was the Golden Gavel recipient from Toastmasters International probably about 10 years ago now. he has, I believe, passed, but it's a really well-known. That's where I got the title. I stole it or borrowed the title and
Yeah.
tweaked it. But
It's
it's
clever,
titled Seven
very
Habits
clever.
of Highly Successful People or
Yeah.
Effective People. I think it's effective. So I go back and forth between effective and successful.
Mm.
Intellectual
I've
borrowing.
seen
Thank you,
that book.
Johnny.
I've seen that book. It's
Yeah,
plastered
it's
everywhere
very well known.
in libraries and bookstores.
Yeah, I didn't follow his 7 habits, by the way. I borrowed the title, I tweaked it, but I know one of his is sharpening your saw, and it's a great book. If you haven't read it, it's a great book. Okay. Anybody else have questions, comments?
I'll throw a comment in here, Richard. The 7 habits you laid out are very much in line with the moments of truth. That is one of the ways that we're presenting this, and how to make yourself have a quality club and things like that. You've expanded on it in a little more areas and getting the open houses and things like that. So instead of just having the focus on the clubs, it's the other factors around it as well. But the like fellowship and making interesting meetings and making sure they're quality and on time and have everything laid out and planned and introducing people, getting folks mentors and things like that. Those are very much in line with the moments of truth side of things as well.
And I believe every club should do moments of truth once a year, and those that are struggling, maybe even twice a year. For those who aren't familiar with moments of truth, it's broken down to 6 different categories. And one of the great things is the club looks inwardly. It's kind of looking at yourself in the mirror and seeing your strengths, but also opportunities for growth. I won't say weaknesses, but opportunities for growth. So it's a great way of let's build on our strengths, but also improve our weaknesses. And a lot of them are things I covered, yes, in the 7 habits.
And a hint that if you follow the moments of truth, your area director's report is going to look amazing.
I will say also Titan Toastmasters and any club that is struggling. I am the club coach chair in District 12. We have a monthly meeting the last Tuesday of every month, and we'd love to have you. We meet from 7 to 8:30. It is on Zoom, so if you're interested, I will put my email in the chat. I was District 100's club coach chair last 2 years, and we did those every month, and I'm continuing this year in District 12. So that's another workshop, another opportunity to share and share ideas, but also learn from others who've been there. I typically have a guest. My guest for November will be last year's program quality director for District 100, Alicia Curtis. We'd love to have you if you're able last Tuesday of the month from 7 to 8:30. I believe this month will be November 28th. We also talk about the rules, and mostly it's a sharing of best practices.
Is that AM or PM?
Oh, that's PM. I'm still working.
Okay.
So it's PM, 7 to 8:30 PM. But thank you. Pacific our time.
Anybody have any more questions, or I'm going to stop the recording? Last call.